This is the Shrimp Trawler Video Channel Strat-O-Matic Baseball Excel Game of the Week.
Welcome back, baseball fans, to the Game of the Week in the Fall League 1981 and 1984. And today we got a game between the Cincinnati Reds and the St. Louis Cardinals. First thing we want to do is just consider the situation that occurred in 1981 between the Reds and the Cardinals. These teams had the best record in the National League, number 1 and number 2 records in the National League that year. And guess what? They weren't invited to the playoffs. I'll get to that momentarily. The Cincinnati Reds, of course, in 1979, they won the West, but they got swept by the Pirates. 1980 was a down year. So 81, they were back in charge, doing great stuff. Pete Rose is gone. Tony Perez is gone. But they still have a general core of the Red machine here. Joe Morgan is also gone. The Cardinals have a heck of a team in 81. Moreover, even if they weren't invited to the playoffs, they're going to come back in 82, acquire Ozzie Smith and Lonnie Smith, and go and win a World Series. Whereas the Reds will start to tumble in the rest of the 1980s after the disappointment of 81, until 1990, when eventually a new regime comes in and they win the World Series, upsetting Oakland. That's the Barry Larkin years, I guess. Reds, Cardinals. Let's take a peek here as well at this horrible, terrible National League standings from 1981. This is absolutely despicable, folks, on many levels. Let's take a look. Look at this. We're going to skip this nonsense with this crap first half, second half nonsense. Let's just go down here. Your Cincinnati Reds have the best record in baseball, 66-42 in a year of a strike. 4 games better than the Dodgers, 6 games better than the Astros. Let's go over in the East. Your Cardinals, they got the best record in the East, 578 ball, better than the Expos by 2 games, better than the Phillies by 2.5 games. The Expos won 1 more game, but they lost 5 more games. That's right, the Cardinals are 5 up in the loss column on these goons. So rain weather. It rained in St. Louis, and the Cardinals didn't go to the playoffs, apparently, because of that. And for the Reds, I don't know what to say here. Let's also take a deep dive into this nasty first half, second half nonsense. So, in the East, the Phillies were a game and a half above the Cardinals, and then the Expos were a half game ahead. And what did I just say? A half game ahead? What does that even mean? You can't be a half game ahead. That's not enough. You got to have, where's the tiebreaker? You either are it's tied or a game. What's it going to be? What is it? That's not you don't do that. You just don't you don't do that. Here are the Reds here playing 6.25 ball and then a 5.96 ball. A game and a half back, I can see that. Then up here they're a half game. What's this? They're a half a game behind. Well, then you gotta. Where's the tiebreaker? It doesn't make any sense. This is illogical. So it rained in Cincinnati also. They played 1 fewer game, which they probably would have won and been in a tie. But it made it easier for baseball to stick it up the you-know-what of the Cincinnati Reds and the St. Louis Cardinals. They got completely screwed figuring, the Reds and Cardinals, they're not going to mind too much. An abomination on baseball, folks. Let's pretend the whole thing didn't happen. The Dodgers, Mike Schmidt, whatever. Fernando, screw him. It's the Reds and the Cardinals. Celebrate these two teams. The Cardinal roster, by the way, I'm going to put this out here now, folks. You like the 82 Cardinals because they won the World Series with Ozzie Smith and Lonnie Smith? Let's take a look at these 81 Cardinals because I like them better. Keith Hernandez, Ken Oberkfell, George Hendricks here, Gary Templeton, his last really good year, Tommy Herr, Gene Perfect Tenants. Oh yeah, Bruce Sutter, Darrell Porter, yeah. Love these Cardinals. Dane Orge is hitting .327. They got Lezcano off the Brewers. He has a nice year, even though they traded him away the following year. They got some guy named John Martin, a very good pitcher with a .342 ERA. And moreover, this team doesn't have Dave LaPointe and John Stuper in the rotation. I don't know how you win a World Series. You go play it, folks. Let's go a year. Okay. I'm not trying to be mean. I'm really not. But I'm just saying, you go take your 82 Cardinals, okay? And you go try and win yourself a World Series with Steve Mura, John Stuper, and Dave LaPointe in your rotation. And a hard force, you're fine. But, anyway, enough. Let's get into real baseball, which is mine. Game 1. Opening up in Cincinnati. Cardinals-Reds. It's Bob Forsch versus Mario Soto. And in this one, it looks like the big red machine of old and vintage form. Bob Forsch does not know what hits him. Moreover, the Cardinals, catching is not their forte anymore. Ted Simmons is gone, so they go with Orlando Sanchez and John Walkenfuss in a platoon. Both have +2 arms. And the Reds and the Cardinals both have explosive running games. Lee Lacy steals a base, scores on a single here. You got a double, single, single, double, double, single walk, RBI single. Lacy single steals second and third in this inning. Forsch, 4 innings, 12 hits, 9 runs, 8 earned. 10-1 final. Yeah, ugly game, but the Reds showing why they had the best record in baseball. But don't worry, folks. This is going to be a really good series. Matter of fact, we got some fantastic baseball to show you in Game 2 and then in 3. Game 2, John Martin, mentioned him earlier. Joe, the price is right for the Reds in this one. The Cardinals come exploding out of the gate, trying to do what the Reds did to them in Game 1. A Gary Redus homer. Gary Redus, he would be a future Cincinnati Red. Cardinals sniped them away from Cincinnati. He hits a home run. Hernandez, Walkenfuss, Saski, Lezcano, Dillard, all hits and walks. 4-run first inning. A solo homer by Steve Dillard makes it 5-zip. But the Reds are the Reds. They chip away. An RBI double by Lee Lacy, who shouldn't even belong to them. Lee Lacy's had an interesting career in my carryover leagues. He seldom plays for the Dodgers or the Pirates, the teams we know he played for. He's played for Cleveland. He's played for the Mets. He's now playing for the Reds. They get a run in the 6th. In the 7th inning, RBI double by Lee May. You remember Lee May from the 1970 World Series, hitting those ground balls to Brooks Robinson at third base. He's back to retire in Cincinnati in his final year. We got to take this to the last couple innings, folks. There's so much drama here. It is Raleigh Fingers. So when we had a big offseason deal involving Templeton and Ozzie Smith between the Cardinals and Padres, we got the closers involved. So Raleigh Fingers left San Diego. He doesn't go to Milwaukee. He goes to the Cardinals. And the Cardinals sent Bruce Sutter to the Padres. And we're all happy with it because they're Hall of Famers. Raleigh Fingers is a Hall of Famer replacing Bruce Sutter. And Bruce Sutter goes to the Padres. Eventually, they would go to another Hall of Famer in 1984. That is Rich Gossage. So everybody's happy in these really cool little moves. John Franco is the closer for Cincinnati. The problems, though, in this particular game is that it goes to extra innings, and each team would score in the 10th and 11th innings. Fingers goes 2 1/3 innings of relief, giving up 3 hits and 2 runs. The inherited runner at second base. We're using the modern rule, which is a runner at second, so that means scoring is going to go up an extra inning frame. But John Franco just gave up a triple to Oberkfell, who can hit lefties well, and a couple more singles. So Franco gives up 4 hits and 2 runs. And the final score, the Cardinals even the series with a 7-6 victory. All right, let's go to St. Louis now for a Game 3. This is another great baseball game. We have Bruce Bereni for the Reds. Has problem walking left-handed batters. He's a decent pitcher. Versus Bruce Keeson. Bruce Bereni, Bruce Keeson, here, well-spoken Bruce. And they're about to get into an argument over a pitching matchup here. Keeson used to be a Pirate, presently with a California Angel card. Cardinals got him a free agency. In this one, we get a George Foster homer for the visiting Reds. It's 1-0. Bottom of the third, Bruce Bereni runs into trouble walking the bases loaded, and a 2-run single by Dane Orge. Garth Orge's brother. 2-run single, it is 2-1. Great, well-pitched game otherwise. Bereni, 6 2/3, 8 hits, 2 runs, but 6 walks without a strikeout. Keeson, 6 1/3, 6 hits, a run, 3 walks, 6 strikeouts. These guys will get into a no decision. And the reason is, after getting into the bullpens, of which every reliever pitched in this thing, so I'm not going to go into too much of who pitched to who and who, I'll just get to the 9th inning where Raleigh Fingers blew a save. After an out, pinch hitter Kelly Paris, he's an infielder, hits a double off his card, and then Lee Lacy gets an RBI single to tie the game, steals a base but does not score, so this game will go into extras. Here's another little footnote. Johnny Bench, his 81 card, he hits 300, but he's a +2 arm catcher, so he's DHing. And they go with Mike O'Barry as their second catcher with a -2 arm. You know, very useful player to have on your team when you go against the speedy Cardinals. Because Mike O'Barry guns down Gary Redus in the 2nd inning. He guns down Ozzie Smith in the 4th inning. And he guns down Willie McGee in the 8th inning. That's 3 caught stealings in 8 innings for Mike of the Barry. Until he's later pinch hit for. That would come up. Okay, we go to the first extra inning. Mike O'Barry gets pinch hit for by Mike Squires, who gets an RBI bunt, and they score to get the run in the top of the 10th inning. The Reds tie it, or the Cardinals tie it in the bottom half. But here's the thing. When Johnny Bench goes into catch in the 11th inning, he gets an injury on his card. And so suddenly you had 2 catchers on your roster, but they're gone. You pinch hit for O'Barry and Bench got hurt. So that means the only other player on the roster is Bump Wills, who has to simply go into that roster spot. Somebody has to catch. I don't know who. It could be Bump Wills, Lee Lacy. We let Bump Wills be the catcher. It doesn't matter, because at that point, we start bringing in some reality of the situation. The inherited runner in the bottom of the 11th inning is Gary Redus, a AA stealer, Willie McGee, a AA, Ozzie Smith, a AA. We give these guys stolen bases. He steals 3rd base. Doesn't matter. Willie McGee gets the single anyway to tie the game. He steals 2nd base. Ozzie Smith bunts the guy to 3rd with 1 out. They do get Walkenfuss out to make 2 outs. Runner at 3rd, 2 outs. Ken Werkfeld gets the single anyway off of Ron Davis to end the game. What a fun game this turned out to be, with all the pitching changes and the fact that these two teams just really want to win really bad. They really do. They're really kind of fun teams. They're not really put together like the 81 versions. There's a lot of free agents added to them. But this was a lot of fun to play these last 2 games that went into extra frames. As John Franco, Ron Davis are in the Red bullpen, Raleigh Fingers in the Cardinal bullpen, both giving up runs. But the Cardinals get back-to-back extra inning victories, 7-6 and 4-3. As we get to today's game, Game 4, and I still got some good stuff to give you folks as we get into a live game. I know there's been a long pregame note here. How about today's starting pitcher for the Cincinnati Reds? Yep. Because he pitched the last game of the previous series, he had to sit around until today for Game 4. It is the legendary Tom Seaver. Let's call 1981 his best year in Cincinnati. He's 14-2. With a 2.55 ERA and 166 innings, Vintage New York form for Tom Seaver, starter 8. Probably should have gone to the World Series for the 8, best pitcher in the National League in 81, for the best team in the National League in 81. Hall of Famer, runs the Hall of Fame. And the Cardinals, this is interesting as well. They're going to send Bruce Hurst out there. He follows Bruce Keeson, who pitched against Bruce Brenny. Bruce Hurst, well spoken, Bruce. He actually was a Red Sox in 84. But in our carryover league, Red Sox didn't really want him. Red Sox used to have a guy named John Tudor. John Tudor was traded to the National League. He pitched for Pittsburgh, he pitched for St. Louis. The Cardinals, couldn't get a hold of Tudor. He's on a different team in the National League. So they settled for the other Red Sox left-hander, Bruce Hurst. Now, Bruce is not nearly as good as Tudor. He's a 12-game winner with a 3.92 ERA in 218 innings, but they got him because he can pitch on 3 days rest, something that John Martin and well-spoken Bruce Keeson cannot do. Tom Seaver, Bruce Hurst, Game 4 in St. Louis. Cardinals are up 2-1, but the Reds have a clear pitching advantage, looking to get a road win to set up a perfect 5-game series where each team wins and loses on the road. And one last thing, as we like to say, this is what this division looks like presently. Here it is, folks. And once again, you got Pirates are having a great year when their franchise is taking on water. The pirate ship is starting to sag a bit, but they're still hanging in there in first place. The rest of the 1980s aren't going to be very kind to the Pirates. Cardinals, though, they should be near the top, and well, there it is. But again, just to go back to the point at the beginning of this video, point number 1, the Reds and the Cardinals both cannot go to the playoffs, because only one team goes from each division, because we're going to have a strike at the end of the year. So that's going to cross one of these guys out. Moreover, the Pirates could win the division. And once again, the Reds and Cardinals cannot go to the playoffs, though that would be because they don't have the best record in their division. But it is kind of weird and fun to see some of the similarities from that year of 81, those circumstances sort of playing out here in the carryover league. And also, a great matchup. I've been looking forward to Reds Cardinals because I really wanted to see how really talented these teams are. And we'll see it as we play the game. You'll see these great players. Let's get started from St. Louis. Leading off for Cincinnati, it'll be Bump Wills. 1-9 is a walk. Double-A Steeler. He's going to take off. They got Bump Wills as a free agent. He was a Cub in 82. He steals second base. The Reds can fly against the +2 arm of Orlando Sanchez. Moreover, they put Mike O'Barry on the bench. He doesn't hit lefties very well, so the Cardinals will be able to fly as well. We might have a stolen base game, folks, something that normally is my bugaboo. You see me get caught stealing so much in these videos, but we'll see what happens today. Batting second, it's Ken Griffey. 37's a walk. 2 on for George Foster. 4-11, right X. And you got Lezcano in right field. He's pretty good. He's a 2-4. He makes the catch. Lee May, the big bopper. 42 off of Hurst. Fly ball in shallow right field. And with 2 outs, batting fifth is Dave Concepcion. 1-6, single on a 1, lines out. Bottom of the first. The Cardinals, left-handed or switch hitter heavy lineup against Seaver. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7 of those. The only righties are Lezcano and Gary Redus. Ken Oberkfell, 2-8, grounds the first. Tommy Herr, 67, single 1-6, cannot get it. And Keith Hernandez strikes out. Top of 2. Johnny Bench, 410. Center X, Cardinal center fielder is Willie McGee, a 2-16, makes the catch. Lee Lacy bats lower in the lineup against lefties, 45, flies center. And Kelly Plaster of Paris, 65, short X. Ozzie Smith, a 1E16 makes the play. Bottom of 2. Sixto Lezcano, 3-5 is a walk. Number 5 hitter, Dane Orge, 57's a K. Gary Reedus, 3-5 center. And with 2 outs, Willie McGee, 46 flies to center. Top of the 3rd, it's Brett Butler. Frankly, Scarlett, I don't give a single for Brett. A stealer. Again, he's going to take off. They're just going to keep doing it until you get him gunned down a few times. And when we look up, we got a 17. I think we got a guy gunned down. Yes, we're holding Brett. And Brett's only a single A stealer, so he's out stealing. Chalk went up to Orlando Sanchez. Back up top to Bump Wills. 2-4 center. And with 2 outs, Ken Griffey. 1-7's a base hit. B stealer, but we're going to let Foster swing away here. 46 is a base hit to left field. Griffey, 16, 17, 18. Not going to make the 3rd out at 3rd. So Lee May will swing. 3-9 against a lefty's a walk. And the bases are loaded with 2 outs. This caught stealing is looking dubious now. Bases loaded, 2 outs, and it's Dave Concepcion. 3-4 is a roller to short. The Reds did not score. Bottom of the 3rd, it's Ozzie Smith. 59, a roller to second. Orlando Sanchez, 1-8. Let's take a look at this guy. Here he is. Orlando Sanchez, for the Cardinals in 81, hit .286. But he was really just a pinch hitter who could catch, play the position of catcher. He's kind of been forced into more of a role now. As, again, he hits pretty well. He's about a 300 hitter against righties. Filling some of the void left by Ted Simmons, being traded to the Brewers. And Walkenfuss crushes lefties in a platoon. It's just that defensively they're bad. But that's a single for Sanchez. Back up top with 1 out to Ken Oberkfell. 3-5, Oberkfell walks. 2 on for Tommy Herr. 56, second X. This is, oh boy, Bump Wills is not very good at all. It's a 4-34 at second base. It's a single dot down off the bad defense there. And the Cardinals have a run. Runners on the corners for Keith Hernandez. 58. Short X, battle of ones, but Concepcion's got a very high E rating. He's an E34. But he turns a double play anyway, a GBA. Tough break for the Cardinals. They get a run, though. 1-0. Into the 4th. It's Johnny Bench. 43, left X. Gary Reedus, a 3E10 and left, makes the catch. Lee Lacy, 55. Homer 1-5, double the rest of 2 base hit. Runner at second for Kelly Plaster of Paris. Double 1-2, RBI single, we're tied at 1. Kelly Paris is a B stealer. He'll stay put, though, for Brett Butler. 65 flies to shallow left. Do you want to attempt to get into scoring position with 2 outs? Because if you get cut down, Bump Wills would be a good leadoff hitter in the 5th inning anyway. So we're going to attempt to steal with Kelly Paris. This is going to be close on the 13. He's a B. That's 13. But Sanchez nips him by 1. 1 dice roll. He catches him as a B stealer. A stealer would have been safe. 1-1 tie. Bottom of the 4th. It's Lezcano. 212 rolls a short. Dane Orge, 110. Let's take a look at this guy, too. Dane Orge. His best year in the platoon in 1981. Dude, it's 327 and 224 at-bats. Year of the strike. Probably could have qualified for the batting title if the season continued. Could even play first and third in addition to the outfield. Better suited to be a DH, which he is in our league. He would actually play for Kansas City and St. Louis in this. I think he played for the Royals in that World Series of 85. Maybe I'm mistaking that. Anyway, Dane Orge, 110's a base hit. Gary Reedus, 38 is a K. And with 2 outs, it's Willie McGee. Willie McGee, 2-7 is single dot. 2 on, 2 outs, and it's Ozzie Smith. 56 off a Seaver, second X. Here's our boy Bump Wills again. 40-34. He's in the news for all the wrong reasons. But he makes the play, the bumper. Bump's normally the designated hitter. They do have Tom Foley who could play second base, but they have him a day off against the lefty Hurst. 5th inning, 1-1 game. Up at top, it is Bump Wills. 2-11, grounds to third. Ken Griffey is ground ball to third. And with 2 outs, it's George Foster. 2-10, let's take a look at George Foster's card in 1981. Yeah, folks, look. These Reds, they got a breath of fresh air from spring training onward in 1981 until the darn strike took place as Foster sort of rejuvenated his career after a down year in 80. 81, he's hitting .295 with 22 homers and under 500 plate appearances because of the strike. So, yeah, this would have been one of his better years. Plus, his defense is reasonable. He's a 3 after being a 4 the last couple of years. He's turned to a better defensive player, 3-E3. 2-10 is gone, and the Reds take a 2-1 lead. Now you got Lee May. 66 off Hurst is that double 1-2 single. And with 2 outs, it's Dave Concepcion. 64 catcher's X. 40-16 catcher, but he does make the pass ball foul out, which ends the frame. Hurst is giving up a couple runs, but he's hanging in there 2-1 in a game that, you know, he's the lesser of the 2 starters. As we get to the bottom of the 5th, let's pause a moment for station identification.
This is the Shrimp Trawler video channel.
Este es el canal de videos de camaroneros.
Now, Cardinals do not want to go back to Cincinnati. They want to, they want to get this. They want to get this at home. And they're down 2-1. And they still have Johnny Bench, who's that plus 2 arm catcher in there. They want to get on base and start stealing bases before they get the cannon arm of Mike O'Berry behind the plate. Bottom of the 5th, leading off, it's Orlando Sanchez. 2-4 rolls the second. Back up top to Ken Oberkfell. 38 grounds the third. And with 2 outs, it's Tommy Herr. 1-4, a fly ball to center. Seaver is Seaver. He's getting up just the 1 run on the singles in a third. We go to the 6th. 2-1 Reds. And here is Johnny Bench. 3-10 strikes out. Lee Lacy, 38, single 1-8. He converts. Double A stealer, taking off. He steals second base. Do you steal third base with 1 out with a double A? You know, I often like to try that, but I often like to try it with a home team, not the road team. And Bruce Hurst is no great shakes anyway. You could probably hit this runner in. Lacy can easily score on from second. So Kelly Paris, who has the RBI earlier, will swing away. 4-10 is center X. It's Willie McGee at 2 in center field. He makes the catch. And with 2 outs, it's Brett Butler. 55 off of Hurst is a double to center field off the Hurst card. Had an opportunity to get him out of there. You didn't. You left him in there, and it's now 3-1. He's 1 batter away from point of weakness, and it's Bump Wills. Bump doesn't have power versus righties. You're going to get Hurst out of there anyway, sooner or later. Let's get him out of there now. 5 2/3. He's really more on the team to pitch on 3 days rest than having him pitch deep into games. He's your number 4 starter. So he'll leave. Down 2 runs and with another runner at second base. We'll go to Jeff Lottie here in the 6th inning. Try and get out of this runner at second situation. Jeff Lottie was a Cardinal in 1983. He was 3-3 with a 3.16 ERA in 74 innings. Solid relief 3. He will face the leadoff hitter, Bump Wills. He'll get it left. He has a switch hitter. He's fine against righties. Here's the pitch to Bump. 2-4 is a fly ball to right. Now the question is, do you want to get his putrid defense out of there? And the answer is sure. Let's do that now. With 4 frames left with a 2-run lead. Let's get Tom Foley playing second base, who's a 3.16. There we go. He had 4 plate appearances for Bump. That's good enough. Tom Seaver now presented a 2-run lead into the bottom of the 6th inning. It's Keith Hernandez. 3-5. Let's take a look at Hernandez. So, yeah, this is the 82 Keith card. that does get a ring. Maybe people forget that he did get a World Series ring with those Cardinals before traded to the Mets, where he got another one. Yeah, Keith got a ring. So did George Hendrick. You know, they got rings for that Cardinal team. Hendrick would move on later to, I think, the Angels. But anyway, Hernandez here, 299 average and 100 walks, just 7 home runs. Could play the outfield if you want him to, but he's that stellar Gold Glove first base type. 3-5 walks. That sets up Lezcano as the tie run. Here's the pitch. 2-11, fielder's choice. Lezcano beats out the double play grounder. He's at first for Dane Orge. Dangerous Dane, 3-9, single 1-2. He catches a single on a single one. Look at that. You get those when you're a 327 hitter. 2 men on, first and second, 1 out for Gary Redus. 55 off Seaver is second C. Tying runs in scoring position, 2 outs for Willie McGee. Here's the pitch to Willie. 2-3, he pops the first. And the inning is over. Seaver survives the 6th. 3-1 into the 7th we go. Is Ken Griffey. 2-8 for Griffey. There's a grounder to short. And now you got George Foster. 3-8 is a strikeout. And with 2 outs, it's the big bopper, Lee May. 67 off Lottie is a pop to first. Jeff Lottie. He does the job, getting 4 outs, getting us into the bottom of the 7th. Before we get there, though, the Reds can add more defense to this team. Mike Squires, solid first base type. He'll take over for Lee May at first. And, yeah, they're going to do it. They're going to bring in Mike O'Berry now. They'll put him in here for... We'll take Johnny Bench out. Johnny's knees, he's getting tired. Johnny's got a +2 arm, which is ridiculous to consider, though, was a reality. As he moved to first base, third base. He could have been a DH in the National League during that time. But bottom of the 7th from St. Louis with the visiting Reds, a 3-1 lead. We are enjoying the Cabbage Alley LP of the meters, 1972. You got to change. Birds is on this one too. Do the dirt. Getting funkier all the time. Cabbage Alley. The meters. Here in St. Louis. 7th inning stretch music. Back to the game. Cardinals need a rally off of Tom Seaver, who's a starter 8. Leading off, it'll be Ozzie Smith. 69 is a walk. Now you don't want to steal down 2, and you got the -2 arm like we mentioned. So we're going to lean on Orlando Sanchez, a lefty bat against Seaver. 2-5, and that is a 6-4-3 double play. Folks, this is what a catcher can do who can throw the ball. He can deter things like this. Almost impossible to get this double play with a +2 arm catcher against St. Louis, but, you know, 2-run deficit. Get a little hesitant late in the game. Some teams might want to chip away for a single run in the 7th and maybe a single run in the 8th or 9th. But because they were down 2, they kept Ozzie at first. Now there's 2 outs for Ken Obergefell. 39 pops to third. Tom Seaver is Tom Seaver, folks. We get to the 8th of a 3-1 game. Lottie's been very good. You got righty, righty, righty. So let's leave him in there for his breaking inning and see what happens. It's Dave Concepcion. 5-12, you walked him. D-stealer. But you got Mike O'Berry. But O'Berry is at least a B bunter. So he will bunt the runner over, if he can. And when you look up, he gets a 2. He catches a single on the bunt. Cardinals fell asleep in the infield and Mike O'Berry drops a perfect one down. He bunts for a single, and now the Cardinals are in trouble with 2 on and nobody out. And Lottie's about to hit the point of weakness. Lacey's better against righties. This is Paris, believe it or not. Dude's about to hit the point of weakness. Might want to get him out of there. Go to a lefty who's pretty good against righties, which is Dave Rucker. Let's do that. Not a lot of good options at this point for the Cardinals. They're going to hook Lottie and bring in Dave Rucker out of the bullpen. Dave was a Tiger in 82. He also pitched for St. Louis, I think, prior to this. 82, Dave Rucker, 5-6, 3.38 ERA in 64 innings. Setting up Raleigh fingers. 2 on, Lee Lacy. He's looking over to third base coach, and he's like, you don't really want me to bunt, do you? I hit 312. And I'm like, of course not. You can swing away. First and second, playing back. Here's the pitch to Lee Lacy. 1-7 is a 5-4-3 double play. And that's why you might want to think of bunting sometimes, folks, with your 312 hitters. You get the double play, the pitcher's best friend. Runner at third, 2 outs. And it's Kelly Paris, who's actually the best defensive third baseman the team has, which is not a good thing to say, but here's the pitch. 47 off Rucker's a pop to second. Dave Rucker gets out of the jam, and it stays 3-1. We got everybody on the Reds in this game at this point. They can't bring in anybody else. Seaver goes into his breaking inning, the 8th. And then leading off for the Cardinals, it will be Tommy Herr. 58 is short X. Concepcion makes a lot of errors. A 1-34 at short. But he makes the play. His oneness helped there. Can't get a single off of him. Hernandez walked earlier and struck out. 59. Rolls a second. Vintage Seaver thus far. And 6 to Lescano. 3-4 grounds to the shortstop. We'll go to the 9th. Rucker will continue. He'll face number 9 hitter Brett Butler, with a couple hits today. 56, second X. Second baseman is Tommy Herr, 3-13, but he makes the play. Back up top, another lefty, Tom Foley. 58, flies to right, and with 2 outs, it's Ken Griffey. 2-7 is a strikeout. Nice finish there for Dave Rucker and the Cardinals. We go to the bottom of the 9th of a 3-1 game. Another nice, crisply well-played game. Situational baseball throughout. Cardinals have not won a game in 9 innings in this series. They're trying to maybe win in a 9th inning walk-off or hope for another extra inning affair, which they've won a couple. Seaver's going back out there. He's only given up, my goodness, 5 singles in this one. In a lefty-heavy lineup. Orge, Reedus, McGee in the 9th. We know the Reds have all their defense in. Here we go. Ron Davis and John Franco, Yankee and Cincinnati closers of this time, are available. Seaver would only probably exit if he hits his point of weakness. Here is Dane Orge. 1-6, you saw the Orge card. He connects triple on a 4 single. It's only going to be a single. That's all right. You're down 2 anyway. And it's number 6 hitter, Gary Reedus. 39, got to stay out of the double play. He cannot! It's a 6-4-3 double play on the Gary Reedus card. Gary Reedus is a burner, folks. He's a double-A stealer, but he's got a double play. That's the only double play in the column, 3-9. Comes at a perfect time for Tom Seaver. He has gotten 2 double plays in the last 3 frames, a double play to end that rally in the 3rd. Hall of Famer Tom Seaver, 1 out from a complete game. It'll be Willie McGee. Let's take a look at Willie's card. With the Cardinals in 82, gets a World Series ring here. With a .296 average, switch-hitting center fielder. He'll get better defensively. He's an E16, but at least he's got some range as a 2. Of course, his best year, I believe, is 85, where he wins the batting title. Just need him to get on base. Can he do it? Here's the pitch to Willie McGee. 1-3, he cannot. He lines to short, and Tom Seaver figures out the Cardinals, and the Reds have tied the series. What a fun little game this turned out to be. A 3-1 victory. Tom Seaver gets the win. Bruce Hurst gets the loss. He pitched admirably. That sets up a winner-take-all Game 5. I believe, yeah, the team who wins Game 5 will be tied for first with Pittsburgh. And it'll be a battle of the Game 1. It'll be Mario Soto at home for Cincinnati against Bob Force. You got lit up So Bob Forsch has to rebound from that terrible start. We'll have the box score of this game and the results of that Game 5 when we get back, so stay tuned. All right, folks, here is the box score of the game you just saw. Tom Seaver, vintage form, complete game, road victory, 3-1 final. Seaver, 6 hits, a run, 4 walks, and 3 Ks. Cardinals had their opportunities. Double plays played a big part of this game. Cardinals hitting 3 of them. They were all turned by the shortstop, Concepcion, a 1 shortstop in this thing. Their only run the Cardinals got was in the 3rd inning. Their only real major threat. No extra base hits. Bruce Hurst, 5 2/3, 9 hits, but just 3 runs, 3 walks, a K, practical quality start. 3-1 victory. Reds even the series 2 games to piece, heading back to Cincinnati for a Game 5. And again, another good game coming up here, folks. We'll give you a right to Game 5 result here. It'll be Bob Forsch and Mario Soto in a rematch. The first time around, it was no contest as they black and blued Bob Forsch, knocked the tar out of him. Here, in this one, the Cardinals strike first in the 3rd inning after 2 outs against Soto. Has trouble with the strike zone. He walks Hernandez, Lezcano, and in a 2-out, 2-run single by Dane Orge, it's 2-zip. Bob Forsch has a nice start. They don't get to him until the 4th inning, where after a hit and a walk, a single to load the bases, an RBI ground out by Bump Wills, it's 2-1. It will stay that way. Both starters go beyond their 7th inning of point of weakness. 8th inning of a 2-1 game. Soto's still in there. It is Dane Orge. He serves up a solo shot to make it 3-1. Reedus doubles. He will score on a 2-out, 2-base error, a costly 2-base error by Ken Griffey. It's a 4-1 game. So with a 3-run lead, they actually pull Forsch after 7, giving up just 5 hits and a run to go with the lefty Rucker to face some lefties here in the 8th with Raleigh Fingers to back that all up. Butler singles. Foster walks. You get a wild pitch on the catcher, so you have 2nd and 3rd, but Rucker gets the lefty Griffey to strike out. They turn it over to Raleigh Fingers. Fingers gets the single off of the defense of Tommy Hurd, 2nd, who's actually pretty good. He's a 3-13, but it's a 2-out, 2-run single with the infield up. A 4-1 game is a 4-3 game. Raleigh Fingers gets out of the 8th inning by getting benched to pop out. Bottom of the 9th, can Raleigh Fingers get the save for the Cardinals? A situation that Bruce Sutter would have been in. Raleigh Fingers, he strikes out Bump Wills. First out. Then Mike Squires rolls catcher's X. And again, we talked about the bad Cardinal catchers. Sanchez, 4E16. You know, Wackenfuss would have been a 4E9. Though hardly a general consideration of bringing him in for defense when he's that bad. Sure enough, you get an error on the E16 catcher, which may not have been an error on the E9 catcher. That is by pinch hitter Mike Squires, who's a B stealer. So then they go after the throwing arm, and they get a stolen base. But Fingers gets Lacey to fly out and Brett Butler to fly out. Fingers gets the save, inning and a 3rd, just a hit and a strikeout. Cardinals get a road win in a Game 5 by a score of 4-3. Soto loses 8 innings, 7 hits, 4 runs, just 3 earned. Franco pitched a scoreless 9th. Just a great, fun series between these two teams who are kind of star-crossed, and they're just not going to see the spoils of war when this thing all plays out, sadly, our season. Let's take a look at the present standings as it is at this moment here in this division. So there it is. So yeah, for now, the Cardinals are in first in a tie with the Pirates with just the Reds a half game back. The Pirates still have to play the Cubs in a best-of-5, and then after that is done, the Pirates will play the Cardinals in a best-of-5. The Reds and Cubs will play a best-of-5. That's what's left before the strike, folks. Someone will win this division. Ultimately, the Cubs will practically decide it, for better or worse. And how good or bad they play, I suppose. But yeah, that's the kind of the kind of fun part of the fall league. You know, it's bittersweet because in the summer league of the 1970s, it was the Big Red Machine against the Pirates. Two of the best rosters in the game. Only one could win that division. And now we flip forward to the early 1980s, and it's a similar situation with the Reds and Cardinals. Only one team could theoretically win the division, and again, neither may. But for now, let's break up those St. Louis Cardinals by getting to first place, winning a best-of-5, 3-2. Thanks for checking out the Game of the Week. We'll see you next Saturday.